This is where the fun begins.
It is settled then. My wealth will fund the rebellion while Garm provides our fleet and Mon Mothma our soldiers.
An elegant weapon for a more civilized age. Are you sure? So be it.
Calf. Lots of it. For me and for the ready room. I have a feeling this mission is not one we can fly in our sleep.
Hey, what's up, everyone? And good morning. Good morning to every single one of you. Well, at least from where I'm at. I know some of you guys are in different parts of the world. So thank you for tuning in. And this is your Thursday morning episode of Calf Chat. I know we kind of went off track a little last couple weeks. Off track. You know that reference if you guys are Trekkies as well. Trekkies, Star Trek fans. But anyways, and also United Spacers Alliance, right? So shout out to him. Tim, hello. Yeah, so good morning. And we are back and resuming regular schedule. And I was thinking I was going to cut the stream a little short today because I wanted to go to an art meeting for the county that I live in. I wanted to go attend that. And it's just a gathering at a coffee place to sit and sketch and talk about upcoming events. But you know what? I don't know. I'm not feeling it, but I do want to do some art and I can do that at home. I don't know. But anyways, and I'd like to spend more time with you guys. Catch up, right? So good morning. And what is in your mug? What is in your mug? What are you enjoying? And speaking of mugs, you can get merch from me with my art printed, especially my Star Wars fan art printed on there at Redbubble. So feel free to check it out. I also like those wanted posters that I made with the Arabic and basic language. I guess you could say Star Wars language, but English, I guess you could say when it's printed in English. But anyways, yeah. So you can get stuff like that. You can get the Mistress of what do you call it? You can get the Massage Venturist one. You can get the oh, my cats are raising hell. You can get Quinlan Bosch. You can get one of the Sith Eyes, which I am in the process of scanning so I can put on there, but also put up on my online art gallery so that you guys can actually get prints. And I'm still thinking about doing a Patreon. And this will be more focused on my art, but also cross-link to the channel in a way. So a lot of stuff going on. And I do want to do I'm going to use my channel here for this, but I do want to do sketchbook Sundays, which will include probably Star Wars art and other interests of me, for me to do sceneries and people and stuff like that. So there's a lot going on. Yes. Good morning, everyone. And if you're currently watching, hit that like button. Hello, I see you guys in the chat. And if you're catching the replay, thank you so much. Let me know you came by saying something in the comments. And that kind of didn't sound right, but hey, let me know you were here is a better phrasing, right? Phrasing. I need that clip. Phrasing. Yeah. So today, we are going to switch direction a little tiny bit. Yes, New Jedi Order is on the back burner, but I have not forgotten. I'm taking down notes for the events that we need to talk about coming up soon. I'll continue on with that. But we're taking it back to the Tales of the Jedi. And no, not from the Disney Faux Wars. We are going to the originals. And we're doing the golden age of the Sith 0 through 5. We're going to just look at the art, talk about the scenes and all of that. Yeah. I thought that would be a good thing to do. It's just like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this sounds perfect. We need to go back and pay homage to the early historical years of Star Wars, right? Of the continuity and the canon. All right. Yeah. So that's going to be it. Of course, Lucas Facts. Of course, Book of the Week. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about this Mandalorian and Grogu stuff that's going on. And the coping that's happening with the Disney shield, I guess you could say. And also, it's quite funny how all of a sudden people are realizing that these quote unquote influences are brought in by Disney to shield for their product. And myself, as well as other Gatekeepers Alliance, like Tim, especially Bane too, and Grizzy and Knights of Melvin, all have been addressing this for a very long time. I remember we were talking about this on this the spacing, right? I've talked about it here on my channel. I have, talked it and discussed with, people in general, like the Gatekeepers Alliance. And we have been addressing it even on Twitter. So it's quite funny that today people are realizing, oh my God, Disney's paying these influencers and why aren't kids there? So we'll get into that. I know I'm sharing a lot more. And speaking of Gatekeepers Alliance, let's go here. Right.
Because there's a fucking gatekeeper. There's a fucking gatekeeper.
I see you purist over there on Rumble. And how is everybody on the Rumble side? My Rumble is, I need to pull up the chat for that. I forgot to pull it up. I got distracted a little bit helping with the baby. Yeah, she's getting so big, you guys. It's amazing. It's amazing to see your child, accomplish their goals and then work in the area that they're that they went and got their degree from, right? And then also, bring in another life and adapt so well. And yeah, there's always hardships. We as parents, we know there's hardships. There's things, there's like, oh my God, what the heck? What's going on here? Kind of thing. But just to see that, it's a blessing. And also a blessing to be, a grandparent, right? And many people are like, no fucking way. You're not a grandma yet. You're too young. You look too young. And I take those compliments with high regards because, my fitness, and I say it's genetics, Asian, Native American, whatever you want to say, it's genetics as well. But my thing is about being as fit and energetic as I can. They say that your body, or you, not just the body, but you as in general, is only as healthy and old as your spine is, I guess you could say, flexible and has movement and stuff like that. When your spine starts losing its range of motions and starts gravity happens, starts in a way disintegrating, and other things happen with the spine. Again, it happens with age. Then that's when you start getting older. Your body starts losing mobility, flexibility, all of that. So keeping yourself healthy with movement, with even weight training, because muscles are a part of your metabolism. And now I'm speaking to now I'm going into the health nerd part of me. But, your muscles are your metabolism. And they do age and disintegrate or atrophy. Atrophy? Is that the right word? But anyways, as you get older, especially for women. And then it's what you consume, what you eat, what you put in your bodies too. Yeah. So going more of a fueling your body, of course, always treat yourself to whatever your thing is about, like what you like. Like if you like to drink a couple beers after work or on the weekend, hey, that's a treat, right? If you like to sit down with a cup of coffee and a cake or something, that's a treat, right? Always treat yourself. But anyways, we're going off topic here from general Star Wars stuff and talk, but that's just something that being someone who has lived a freaking awesome life. I have all kinds of accolades that I don't talk about. I've been on covers of magazines, yes, native magazines, and all that, but being just a person and just being someone that loves to explore and all this and wants to be able to sit here and talk with you guys for a very long time, not like in general today, but keep this going for many years. Yeah, being healthy and taking care of yourself is a must. But anyways, oh God, I'm just laughing because we have like talking about fitness and yoga, like that. This goes into yoga because I'm a yoga teacher, right? And something I've been talking about, the Gatekeepers Alliance in private. I'm like, I got this, something that Tim left on there. I'm like giggling at it because it's fucking funny. And yeah, it's almost like a private joke. But anyways, let's see who's in the chat. So Star Wars Marvel purist on the Rumble side, like the stream, follow the channel, repost, and comment after the stream. Thanks for your support. And yeah, that's on Rumble. Thank you so much. That is my Rumbleites over there. Don't be a Rumbleist at all. Go over there, create account, follow, and subscribe. So following is subscribing, and subscribe, and then membership or following is subscription, and then subscription is membership. So there you go. So it's kind of different lingo between YouTube and Rumble, but they all mean the same. So when I say like, subscribe, and share, I'm also referring to Rumble, even though the language is a little bit different there. Yeah. So good morning from the Rumble side to the Rumble side as well. Howdy, EU elitists. How are you doing? And I was given an idea to Scran about doing a panel type show, maybe on his channel, where we could talk Star Wars, but also shoot the shit, right? So that's still up in the air. That is still up in the air, Scran, if you want to do that. Like and subscribe, grab some calf, and get ready to talk real Star Wars. Yes, exactly. And then we have Nazo here. How are you doing? I got a Mandalorian Grogu ad from the stream. Oh, fucking shit. Really? Yeah, I guess that shit happens, right? I mean, wasn't it? Who was it? Was it Grizzy? I'm probably just misremembering. But one of the guys got a Theory Saber ad on their video, which is funny too. Just water as usual. Guessing you got some good cap. Yes, I do. And water is always good. Like I said, the health nut here going in, coming out. Always drink at least 8 ounces a glass of water when you wake up. That helps the organs wake up and helps digestion and digestion to happen, all that. Casual Chris is here. I wonder how I'll watch Mango and Gronk without going to the cinema. Well, that's a good question or our thoughts. And there's going to be a watch party with Mr. Grizzy, and I know that Knights of Melvin's going to join, and I think Pierce said he was going to hop on. I think I can hop on. I haven't said yay or nay on that. But if I can't, I might just be there in the chat. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be this weekend. They're selling the high seas with that. So stay tuned for more information. Yeah. So if you want to watch, if you're curious on the developments of it, to see what the critics and everybody has been saying, even those influencers that have these mixed reviews that sounds more negative than positive, join in. Mum OG. Hello, how are you doing? I probably pronounced that wrong. I always do that. And then we have Gummy 58. So Gummy 58, I don't think I've ever seen you here. Good morning. Good morning to you. And let's see here. Gummy is from on the Discord side, so I'm still getting used to all my new followers over there. And if their name is different there than it is on here on YouTube, I apologize if I didn't recognize it. Just finished the Force Unleashed novelization, 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, that's one that's another mixed bag, I guess you can say, with fans, right? I mean, it's still above average for you, but it's on the lower end of that. It's about average. Not above, but it's about average. Anytime we discuss early Star Wars by Tom and Kevin is good with me. Love their work. Let's see here. And you know what that I've been getting today or like recently, and this is going through again. And I'm guessing this is a wash, rinse, repeat type thing. Whenever a show comes out and then fans are not responding to it positively, whether you're a Disney Star Wars fan or a George Lucas era Star Wars fan or something like that, or a fence rider, they go to like People versus George Lucas to talk shit. Well, fans have always been this way kind of deal. And it's a form of gaslighting. Okay. And OG does look good, great for her age, no BS. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm told that. I don't feel it most of the time. Like, I feel like I could do better with, taking care of myself, like skin-wise and stuff like that. But that's just me being me. Like, I don't want to say it's humble either. I'm criticizing myself badly. Holy fucking shit. What the hell is this? Let me see. I don't have any type of response for that. Maybe. Holy shit. I need some better clips on here. I keep on writing down and I lost my paper. Fuck, I'm so mad at myself. I cleaned and threw out my paper of clips, ideas that I wanted to put on here. But here you go.
You rebel scum.
Holy shit. Yeah, I'm going through the chat right now. Let's see. My dad wants to get into more fitness, but life happens. Yeah. The only thing is what needs to happen is start walking. Maybe take that 15-minute walk around the block. That's a start. Taking those first few steps is the hardest. That once you gain momentum and habit, then it's something that you can maintain. But just those first few steps, and pun intended too. I've been using Chuck Norris Total Fitness. Oh, what's pretty cool is I have a student that has been coming to my class. He's pretty cool. Oh my God, he showed me his pictures. Oh, he got hit by a big rig, like the big rig lost control and stuff like that. So I'm not going to go into his whole story. And it totally completely smashed his foot, and there's other things. And so, so he went through a lot of intense surgery, recovery, body replacement, I guess you can say, with grafting and stuff like that. But anyways, he showed me these pictures and stuff, and he's like, yeah, I decided I need to come back to yoga, because he used to do yoga, martial arts, and Tai Chi and stuff like that. Pretty cool guy. And he lived down in LA for a while, and LA area. And so we're talking about this because his mobility and how his body reacts is still working through even after the years. And so we're talking about that. And he was like, yeah, he goes, I used to be so active. And he's telling me about everything that I told you what he did. And he was a student of Chuck Norris. I kid you not. He shared pictures of him and videos of him with him and stuff like that. So it was fucking cool. It's fucking cool to have it is fucking cool to have a student who was a new Chuck Norris on a personal level. And so we talked about his passing and stuff like that. But yeah, just interesting fact there. This week started burpees and sprints intervals, going to switch up the routine so you're doing HIIT and then all that. Cool. That is freaking cool. Remember, a good stretch out before and after, warm up and cool down. There you go. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Swift. How you doing, Matt G? What's up? And let's see here. Oh, it's Jawa E. See, I don't know much about Jawa E, so thank you so much. I think that's one thing I've kind of neglected is looking up the language for that. So thank you for sharing. That's freaking cool. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. OG Star Wars is a fake fan. She didn't get into Jawaese or ever looked into their language. And then Gerson, how are you doing? All right, looks like it's kicking and hopping over there on Rumble. All right, and it says hello there from Batu. And let's see, anybody did I miss? Oh, Mike is here. I know I'm taking like 20 minutes to get through the chat and stuff and saying hello and stuff, but hey, it's Cap Chat. This is what this is fucking about, right? Last week in Grizzy's stream, we had this guy in his mid-50s crying about us like the prequels and us calling him a boomer. Only liked A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and of course Andor. I think I remember that. I mean, I was there off and on and listening in more than in chat. But yeah, I do remember pieces of someone having actually a breakdown in the chat. It's kind of funny. Hello there, Lucas Gerson. Was that you on Rumble too? Yeah, must have been, huh? So Rumble and YouTube. We're on Rumble. Woohoo! What's up? To all my Rumbleites over there. What's up? And this is for you guys on Rumble as well. I don't have my chat open. I need to go open it. But this is for you guys from this awesome, cool guy here. Let's see here. And am I missing anybody here? We have Calcite. This is a answer to someone, but hello, Calcite. And let's see here. And I need a Tony Lucas out. Let's see here. And oh my God. And let's see here. Ewok haters and PT haters almost always one and the same. Oh my God, we'll get into that. I was thinking about pulling up those comments in what I was sharing. Because some people fucking can't read. It's fucking crazy. So let me see. Yeah, so I think we will. Let's see here. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Hello, Joey. How are you doing? Hello, everyone. Let me see. Let me pull this up while we're at it, since it's fresh in the memory. All right. So question here. What are your thoughts of the people versus George Lucas? What are your thoughts of the people versus George Lucas? Okay, let's see here. Let me pull this up here. There we go. Get out of that. Let me share. Not interested. I did watch it some time back for study, I guess you could say, for research. But what do you think the intentions of that was for, right? What are the intentions for that? Let's see here. Headcanon crybabies. There you go. Not interested. Let's see. Wasn't that just some smear campaign against him? Yes, it was. It was. Let's see here. And Nazar says, I don't remember this. Speaking for my prequels experience, screw those guys. Yeah, you don't remember them speaking for your experience. Screw them. Correct. All right. So this right here, let me just bring it fully up on the screen. So let me go ahead and just click on the exact. There we go. Make sure that's shared, because sometimes StreamYards can be a little tricky with what we're sharing. So this was from the loot of Boba Fett, and they shared this, of course. And again, like I said, it's I'm going to use the analogy: wash, rinse, repeat. Every time there's a new show or a new product or whatever coming out from Disney Star Wars, and the fan reaction or people's reactions are not quite well or fond or positive, they throw all this stuff out, including this right here. All fans throughout the ages are the same, kind of deal. So when the prequels arrived, a part of the fandom raised the roof. But it also happened with the special editions, the CGI, the Metachlorians, Jar Jar, and over-the-top merchandising. The story of hashtag Star Wars has been repeating itself for decades. Selective memory, too. So using this as a coping mechanism, I guess you could say, and a defense for, I'm assuming, Grogu or Mandalorian Grogu show. And you see this all the damn time. Be prepared for something like this to happen when and if the Ahsoka movie comes out, right? It's always that. Because they think this media entertainment driven video represents fans. Like the true fans, the fans. And I would say these people who did this video are not fans. Yeah, sure. It's always good to critique an artist. George is an artist. He's a film artist. He's a motion picture artist, right? It's always good. It's always fair to critique. And a lot of people that take as hate are basically critique against what was given through the movies. I can still like something and still critique it and still not favor some things in it. That doesn't spell out hate. Not liking a character, for example, we'll just use Jar Jar. It's not hate. It's not hate towards the actor either. And I'm not saying or excusing any type of like misconduct against a person for acting and and calling, I guess you can say, them names and stuff like that, or threatening them. That's not what I'm saying. You don't have to like a character. You don't have to like a scene or how a certain point panned out, but still like something. Right? So we're going through this again and again and again. And I know that a lot of us, and by I mean us, like Gatekeepers Alliance and people, similar people, have been sharing this time and time again. It's almost like it's a scripted response, right? If you don't like it. And then there's the I wouldn't say it's the opposite, but more extreme is a better word. And that extreme is going into people being racist, and this being a call out by social media, not social media, but media in general, and by Lucasfilm Associates. And then their people follow on cue. On cue. Because maybe a fan didn't like a character that maybe the actor is of a diverse, I could say diverse background. So we have this. We have this. And before I go move on, I'm going to see what you guys are saying. Oh, Bucky. Oh, Bucky. Let me see what you're saying in the chat. And the anti-EU R-siders are now back to using an argument to attack Disney canon. Saw the Disney apologists and shield troopers doing. Yep, that's exactly. It's like they need to shift the grift. The grift needs to be shifted to fit the narrative that they're trying to bring forth. let's see here. And I'm going to be upfront, George Lucas accomplished a few producers ever wish to accomplish independence. Correct. And a lot of that backlash towards George was from media and even Hollywood associates. They didn't like the fact that he went independent, that he did not want to go with the norm and the standards that they were trying to set. And that's why he was fined and banned from different guilds and stuff like that. Now, if you go deeper into the research of all of this, yes, it's all media driven, and the people pulling the strings, Hollywood. And when you look at the atmosphere today, those people, those sheeple that people say, oh, the fans that are toxic, I don't consider them fans or whatever. So these people ended up being like sheep, and followed the media driven backlash. And you see that today. Media on cue with Lucasfilm, Hollywood pulling the strings will blame fans for not liking what is coming out. And so those Disney, Star Wars shills follow suit. You see the similarities there? The similarities there. What these sheeple did with the media-driven backlash for the PT, and what these Disney shills do with media and following their script again during this time. Very similar. Very, very similar. So let me see what you guys are saying. And let's see here. Midichlorians were always cool and make sense as well. Prequel haters who don't understand basic concept like this. Right. Let's see here. As if people actually have anything respectful to say about it. I will show you what's going on, what someone kind of defended this video. And so we'll get into that. I read that already. I still think Jar Jar was kind of funny. That was the thing. He was supposed to be funny. He was supposed to be the I guess you could say, in my culture, they have what is called Heyoka. And he's a medicine person, looks into the sacred things, but also lets people know not to take life seriously. And Heyoka, he does everything contrary, backwards, right? And it's to take, or to make, not take, make light of things. That being different or being too serious can, I wouldn't say being different, but being too serious, taking life serious, not enjoying the silly things, all of that can be hard on humans and society. But I'm using a little bit of cultural aspect to share with this character, right? So he's supposed to be that lightness in the movie, right? And whether or not George went extreme with it or whatever, that's up for debate, right? That's up for debate. But his character was there to create lightness, to create laughter, to create humor, to create smiles, not only in children, young fans, but in anyone who gets the jokes or whatever. But people, and it's fair criticism for people who really didn't care for it. It's cool. I'm not saying like, oh, you suck because you can't, you take everything too serious. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just using an example, cultural example or whatever, of this character that is here to split the seriousness out, take the seriousness out or whatever. But anyways, yeah, so criticism, of characters and stuff like that, fair enough. Fair enough. We all have our likes and dislikes in our favorite movies, right? And our favorite franchises, all of that. Repeating itself, it's been the same 6 movies for 30 plus decades. The story has been the same. How is that repeating? I am saying repeating as of using and saying, oh, fans have always been this way, to gaslight and to cover up the criticism. Because when you look at the history, it's not the same. And the makers of this video, I wouldn't even call it a documentary, but this video, used like this came out in 2010, and they used this as a way to, as an anti George Lucas approach. And they took a minority and made them loud. Okay. But anyways, let's see here. Star Wars Scran. They only like a New Hope and Empire. Yeah. And big Star Wars fan. Yes, they are. For 30 plus years. That's like having smear campaign against the Walt Disney just for DuckTales. DuckTales. Woohoo. Okay. Yeah, I think we're all thinking that. Let's see here. Our relative. Yeah. I thought so, but wasn't entirely sure the same time. Let's see here. And oops, wrong one. Batu says, and people have only hate midichlorians because it puts science into magic. We know the Force creates miracles. Now we can actually prove it. And it's still, and the thing is with the midichlorians, it didn't take the mystery from the Force. It just shows how the Force can work in a being. And it's not just a human being, but a being in general. And it just shows, and it just gives an explanation on why some people are not Force sensitive versus others. It doesn't say like why, certain people who have Force abilities can use certain things versus others. Example, Corran Horn, telekinesis. He couldn't do it. But he was still extremely Force sensitive. And, so that's just an example. So it doesn't take the mystery away from the Force. It just gives in perspective on how it can work through a being, or how it's harnessed or could be harnessed, if that's the appropriate words. George Lucas created an explanation of how the magic from his universe, the Force, works on on living beings, explaining how some people can use and how some others can't. That this is sci-fi plus fantasy, correct? And I know Tim, Tim will say this is more sci-fi than anything else. And, so let's go perfectly simple. Let's see here. I wanted Wookiees. What? And the thing is like when it started being revealed through the making of Return of the Jedi, that the first basic ideas was Wookiees, and then George changed his mind for obvious reasons, right? That's when you started seeing a lot more backlash on that, because they wanted like these Wookiees to come out and be ever like these bigger monstrosity type beings of ripping and tearing apart stormtroopers and all this other stuff, right? But then, it's so funny is that they wanted the Wookiees in Return of the Jedi, and then they got Wookiees in Revenge of the Sith, and they still weren't fucking happy. That's funny. That's the funny part, right? Let's see here. And the DA needs to finish reading Courtships of Princess Leia before he shills for Starfighter. And good morning to you, Nerd Migos. How are you doing? And if you guys haven't checked it out, I did a Talking EU with Nerd Migos as well. And if you guys want to catch that, feel free to find that on my channel and listen to it later. It's very interesting, good conversation there. Hollywood are the ones driving those voice actors away from in favor of celebrities to begin with, which includes the infamous violators. Okay, let's see here. All right, let's see here. All the anti-Lucas fans, quote unquote fans, who always had bash Hollywood are literally falling for the propaganda. And we have Soul Assassin here. Why did I see you earlier? There we go. Yes. Hello. Lovato is here. All right. And so let me take a look at more of this. I guess we're doing a cringe factor earlier. Okay, let's see here. And these comments, we have Stig here. Look at when it was released, then look at when the prequels were re-released. Congrats. You should now realize that you are, in fact, retarded. And then he goes, funny you brought up dates because they actually destroy your argument. Revenge of the Sith released in 2005. The People versus Lucasfilm came out in 2010 after the entire prequel trilogy had already finished and over a decade after the Phantom Menace. And this guy's such a fucking idiot because that's what Stig was pointing out. Look at the dates versus when that video was released and when the prequels were released. I don't know why I said re-released. So that's exactly what he said here. And this idiot reinforced what Stig said. So that's quite funny. And then someone here, the CJ Striker, CBR. CBR. All right. Thank you. Finally, someone posted truth with that image. Haters today have swept away their crimes of the 2000s like they were never happened. Now, you guys, what do you think about that? Haters today have swept away their crimes of the 2000s like they never happened. And do you find it quite funny, interesting that these guys lump everybody into a minority of individuals that followed the media-driven hate? The hatred for the ST then was mainstream and seemed unfixable. Now they act like it never happened to justify today's hatred. Okay, so this right here, the hatred for the ST was mainstream and seemed unfixable. So ST, I think this idiot meant PT because back then, the way I'm reading this is past tense. The hatred, for the ST then was mainstream and seemed unfixable. Now they act like it never happened to justify today's hatred. Such rats. So are they talking just like less than a decade ago with this? Are they talking about the PT? Okay, let's see here. I know I'm missing some of your guys' remarks here. Let's go to Nerdmigos. The midichlorians are just metaphor about the dance between destiny, the cosmic force, and free will, the living force, already established in A New Hope. Let's see here. And I think George should have sued the guys from this piece of bantha fodder that was People versus George Lucas. Smash the like. Let's see here. Vader slices and dices Wookiees in Dark Lord Rise of Darth Vader, and the Empire carpet bombs Kashyyyk and enslaves them anyways. Yeah, exactly. So that right there would not make sense for them to use that. Let's see here. Let's go back to this. Now, I don't know if there's any more. There's only 2 people that commented on this, which are, it says 7, but I'm not seeing the rest of them. It could be people that have already have me blocked or what have you, or I muted. So let's go ahead and go back. Oh, shit. To mine. All right. So I quote retweeted this. This came out years later from the PT about 2010. And I use that squiggly mark that gives a give or take time frame. And I would not consider these guys fans. This was made by the media entertainment. And no, these guys do not represent the fandom during pre-Disney. And of course, I did piss off a lot of people who really didn't, some of them really didn't read my post and went at it as if I'm saying that there was no hate. There's always hate towards a movie. Always. Even the best films have haters. Okay. And there's always critique. Critique does not mean hate either. Older Gen X and especially boomers do not like the prequels. There was all sorts of stuff like this. It was all over. So back in the day with the internet, those are the early days of internet. And even the algorithm wasn't fully established yet. And when you had forums, they were very, very secluded. But he says there was all sorts of stuff like this. It was all over. Whitewashing history seems odd. And this is Kip, Mr. Checkmark here. I'm thinking about getting my checkmark back because I can type longer without having to make a big old huge, stream of posts. And now you are stereotyping and lumping a group of people in with a minority. Last, the internet was not as it is now. And then I was like, laugh out loud, whitewashing. Where did I say this video did not happen? Because he's like, he's implying that it didn't happen. Let's see here. And he goes, this isn't my point. And I know you're smart enough to get that. The prequels were not well received by a loud minority, much like the ST. So again, loud minority that didn't have the resources as today. So how can that minority be loud? Only if they were given the stage. And this media entertainment company, these producers, gave them the stage. That doesn't mean that it equals how people can be as loud today through social media. And much like the ST. So do you think that what happened back during the PT time is comparable to what is going on now, especially with the Disney trilogy? People sent me hate mail. Oh, people sent him hate mail. Now, how in the hell would people send him hate mail if back then, again, thinking back at the time, people can't send you hate mail unless you display your email or your address. Interesting, right? Lucas, and do you really think that people written this guy Kip to send him hate mail? Lucas acknowledged it and it was annoyed. Yeah, Lucas acknowledged the media driven backlash. And that includes the minority of people that followed them, like I addressed earlier, sheeple. People said Lucas ruined their childhood. Yeah, that's what people said in that video. Again, that video gave a platform that they didn't have because the internet wasn't predominant as it was today, right? And the media played a role in it too. Well, yeah, the media set up everything. That was media-driven hate. And gaming or movie sites constantly mentioned, of course, media, gaming and movie sites, media. Kotzi mentioned that the trilogy was divisive as they do today with the ST. Now, I don't remember anybody saying that the PT was divisive. Now, I was there too. So this is the qualifier. This is what really irks me. Oh, I was born during that time. I grew up during that time. Or I read all the EU. I was there during that time. As a qualifier, as what they're saying is legit over you and your experience. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Here's what people do not know. George Lucas helped writers with novelizations of the prequels, correct? And the classic prequels and the sequels were equally received by the fans the same way. BS. And what's funny is that they are a loud minority. They don't know it, but that's the joke. And it's ironic how they were the ones that called us that, but they're really the ones. Let's see here. If I remember correctly, George Lucas never had email accounts. And loud minority is still a minority. It cannot translate overall negative reception, correct? AOL dial-up network. Yes, I was in the AOL chats as well. And it, like I said, like during that time, not a lot of people, like internet and even forums, like from AOL and stuff like that, were not as big and broad as what we're like as YouTube right now, and as social media in general, like Twitter X. OG sent you a video, Lucas, talking about the fans that were mad. Okay, I'll check. We'll pull it up here pretty quick. All right, let's get back to that. Let's see here. And then so he goes on, so he's speaking very broadly here. We thought we were getting the Clone Wars and Teen Anakin. So you guys who grew up with the PT, or even were still that were, young adults or what have you during the PT when it came out, were you expecting to get the Clone Wars and a Teen Anakin when the PT started coming out? Honest question. Were you expecting the Clone Wars and a Teen Anakin? I wasn't. I knew by the materials that I've gotten from Lucasfilm, like the fan magazines and stuff like that, I knew what to expect because they were dropping hints and information about what's going to be developed. And we got a kid Jar Jar, and there was lots of pushback. That being said, I love the PT and glad they're getting props, but to now do it to the ST and ignore it was done is a historical. So not the same thing. This how the PT came about through the buyout through Disney, and how lore was tossed away, and how many fans were disenfranchised by this and stuff like that, and how the direction that they took, not the same. All right, so we have this Sir Gorn dragon with a nice little rainbow at the top. I spent all my adult life defending the prequels from true fans, quote unquote true fans. So this person spent their whole adult life. This person here with this avatar here, their whole adult life. Okay. All right. Let's see here. The idea people didn't hate on the PT when it was being released is full-on revisionism. And in my mention here, in my post, I did not say that people didn't hate on the PT. Like I said, movies, no matter how good they are, will always have haters. There's never a universal like of anything. And that's just life. That's just facts. When it was being released is full on revisionism. We had fans literally hoping Lucas would die, so somehow else could get Star Wars and redo the prequels. That's how bad it was. So what do you think about this and this? All right, let me see what you guys are saying. I just realized that the original trilogy didn't showcase Luke Skywalker, but instead the Rebels, Stormtroopers, Darth Vader, R2-D2, C-3PO, and Leia Organa. Oh my goodness. Click his replies. Okay. Oh, you want me to click all of his replies? Which one? Because I only replied to the person on top of me that I just shared with you guys. It was only me. It was only me. And so it's just me. No one else is replying back. No one else is replying back. And so people did not hate on people did not hate on it when it was coming out. That isn't revisionist history. That is a fact. So there was people that did not hate. That's what I meant. There's people that did not hate on it when it was coming out. In fact, there was long lines and stuff like that for the PT. Last, the internet was not as prominent as it was as it is now. My post is not saying there wasn't any idiots. Those are a minority that hated. Read my post again. So my post here, basically, I'm dressing just this right here. This came out years later from the PT, about 2010. I would not consider these guys fans. This was made by the media entertainment. And no, these guys do not represent the fandom during pre-Disney. So no way was I saying that no one hated what was going on. So with this guy, it's just me replying back. Let me go ahead and find this right here. So this one here, Charles Watson. Mr. Watson's not so bright. This was absolutely the state of the fandom pre-Disney. I know. I was arguing with people like you about, so they say like me, about the good aspects of the prequel. Before Clone Wars took off, before the sequels were the new hot thing to hate. Hate was common. You tourists perpetuate that hate. So again, my poster was not saying that there was no hate. I was addressing the video. So I said, tell me you have not read my post you replied to without telling me. And then Andres, people hated the prequel since 1999. And I said, did you not comprehend my post you replied to? And then he goes, you said the hate was after 2010. That's not true. I'm sure there were people with a user like Star Wars RG who called only 3 original movies canon. And so trying to say that I don't like the OT, which is not true. This person has no idea who I am. I said the video came out after 2010. Reread again. And so here it is. This came out years later from the PT, about 2010. I would not consider these guys fans. So nowhere I said there. And then he said, so you don't consider them fans? And what about the people who wanted to delete the sequels? Well, of course, the people who do not like the sequels are not going to be the fans, right? That's fucking obvious. And the people who made that video, I wouldn't consider fans. So the stance here is that people want it to be fans so they can call fans toxic, so they can gaslight these people. They can make these statements and say, look at the fans. They did this always. It was always something the fans did. But when you take that away from them, they don't like it. They do not fucking like it. Okay, let's see here. The user is an idiot. Prequel hate never made sense. Only a bunch of crybaby men. And seriously, the Clone Wars is never going to be in all 3 films. No, they weren't. Let's see here. People didn't want to argue with Yoji. They fear the boogeyman. Up on the original rebuttal. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I'll get to that. Let me go ahead. I'll get to that, sir. And then I'll just go ahead and cover this last one here. So Darth Tetrius. Actually, I have one more to do. Anti-prequel content in general was given a massive AstroTurf push in the early 2010s. That's exactly my point. Almost as if somebody was trying to engineer the conditions that led to Lucas selling. And so, no, that's not exactly how this was. Maybe that was an intention. I don't know. We don't know the intention other than anti-Lucas hate. The underperformance of the 3D release of The Phantom Menace, the 3D release being intended to fund Lucas's ST plans. And so I had a conversation with this guy, sharing my opinion here. And basically this right here was only his opinion about the success, or what the 3D release of The Phantom Menace was about. So, but there's one thing I wanted to cover. Where is it? And this guy here uses media journalist article to try to solidify what they were talking about. You can go check that out. Let's see here. So, Star Wars timeline. As ugly as some of the parts of this video are, I think it was the only real outlet for pre-social media for old school fans to do what they always do, express opinion. So they're thinking that this video is basically a free to express opinion, and this was not anti-George Lucas targeted. Not all of it was accurate or deserved. A lot of it, and a lot of it had real toxic animosity towards George. But a lot of it, in my views, was a valid criticism. So this video is basically he's saying valid criticism. Now, what do you think about this? And then someone, Despot says, it was media ran project. And he's like, no, I don't believe so. It reflected the same sentiment many of the original trilogy fans expressed in AOL chat rooms, message boards, and fan sites. And he goes on, I know because I participated for years in many of them since the early thousands. Prequels had tons of fans, and they had tons of resentment. Revising history in light of Disney's aberrant treatment of George and the fandom doesn't change the facts. And I said, basically short and simple, this video doesn't represent fans and is a media source that targeted George Lucas. And he's all, whatever the creators' motivations were, what I saw all over the forums and chat rooms and outside internet at my school and later college in New York City, comic shops and movie theaters was reflected in this documentary. And I said, it was obvious the intention, don't you think? Anti-George targeted by media entertainment. And he's like I said, I didn't reply back. I just left it. Like I said, whatever their motives were, there are a few segments there that acknowledge the batshit insane toxicity Lucas faced in the prequels. So again, he's making excuses for this anti-George Lucas video. All I can report sincerely about is what I witnessed firsthand. A lot of older and younger fans found prequels lacking and frustrated for not having an outlet. And the key difference was no sensitivity training officers were monitoring the AOL chat rooms and forums who talk shit the way boys do about their hobbies. So what do you guys think about that? Star Wars Timeline is a PT hater. Let's see here. They're planning a Tales of Season 4, and it's a focus on Luke. Yeah, that's what I heard the rumor is. Prequel hate never made sense. Only a bunch of crybaby. Oh, I read that one already. Let's see here. There is no elaboration. Okay. Let me go ahead and pull that down and see what was given, what Soul Assassin sent. Twitter. Okay, let's see here. Chat. Let's see here. Okay. Let me see. All right. Okay, that's not going to show what I canceled that. Okay. I wish I should just play some music in the background. I should harness Bane of the Shields and play some background music, right? All right. Let's see here. I want to rewind this. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. So this is Mr. George Lucas addressing. Let's go ahead and check it out. 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 All right. Let's start it.
There's a group of fans from the films that don't like comic sidekicks. They want the films to be tough and like Terminator, and they want to be, real guy movies. And they get very, very upset and very opinionated about anything that has anything to do with being childlike, which the movies are for children, but they don't want to admit that, and or a comic sidekick. They don't want comedy in these movies. There's a group of
so just like what I was stating is that Jar Jar was basically the comic relief of seriousness and stuff like that. So that just reiterates what I was saying. I've never seen The People versus George Lucas. Ooh, yeah, I would say for your research, because you do a lot and you talk a lot about George Lucas and his mythologies and how he designs these movies and stuff like that versus what Disney is doing now. And I would say for just research sake and stuff like that, check into it. Check into it. Let's see here. All right. So it's been a long time. We've been here on this topic for quite a while. And so I want to get into our segues. So let's go ahead and I need to bring up my Lucas Facts and Book of the Week stuff because I didn't download them on my media thing. Whoops, that's not it. That's last week's. So let me see here. We will do Lucas Facts first. We will do Lucas Facts first, but let me bring this up. Let me play this video while I rearrange. Let me see here and pay homage to Matt.
Someone asked me to give the best reason why someone should read the expanded universe. After giving it a lot of thought, here's what I have to say. The expanded universe respects the reader. In the expanded universe, Luke Skywalker's optimism continues where it left off in Return of the Jedi. He's fulfilled hope to the galaxy, just like Obi-Wan said he would, not like the Disney movies where he gave up on the Jedi or even the whole galaxy for that matter. The character you see in those movies is not Luke. Luke isn't a quitter. He's not a pessimist. He's a leader. He's inspirational. And he's always there for his friends in times of need. Another character is Han Solo. He's introduced to us in A New Hope as a loner, a man who cares only for himself and nobody else. But by the end of Return of the Jedi, that all turns around when he finally finds friends he can trust and a true love to spend the rest of his life with. And that's exactly what he does in the expanded universe. Han is a devoted husband and father to Leia and their kids. He loves his family above all else. In the new movies, Han turns out to be a selfish deadbeat dad who ran out on his family when things get tough. It's a complete 180 from the character that we saw from Return of the Jedi. Now, another thing the EU does is it rewards its readers. Attention to detail when it comes to continuity has never been done at such a level as when it was performed by the expanded universe. Avid readers will constantly be rewarded for their diligence as comics, novels, video games, and even children's books share connections throughout the entire series, making it almost a flawless, continuous story. And though it has its minor flaws, it's still the best overall story and continuity out there, period. That's what the EU does. It respects and rewards its readers. And that's the best reason you should give it a try. Long live the expanded universe.
Long live the expanded universe. So let's go ahead and get into the Lucas Facts.
That's great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
going to be great. That's going to be great. So let's see what is going on with that. So this one right here comes from Shadow of the Empire. All right. The best-selling Star Wars novels have extended the vision of George Lucas's original blockbuster film trilogy. It extended the vision of George Lucas's blah 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 original blockbuster film trilogy, chronicling the further adventure of Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and Han Solo. Now, for the first time ever, comes a novel that reveals an untold story that took place between the movies Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, a novel in which Darth Vader still lives and battles a new villain every bit as evil and powerful as the Dark Lord himself. So Lucas facts here. It is extending. It's an extended vision of George Lucas's original blockbuster film trilogy. Meaning, and it's easy to come to this conclusion because that's basically what it's saying. It is a part of the canon. Prince Zijor. Woohoo! There we go. Let's see here. I laugh out loud. I just had a stupid ass Grogu ATST set ad. Oh my God. They're really pushing their articles on my channel. Oh, fucking God. That's crazy. All right. Shadows of the Empire is the perfect bridge in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Correct. And can't believe this book is now on its 30th anniversary. And have you guys heard of renaming the street from Essex to Jack's Kirby Way in New York? No, I did not. That's new to me. Hey, Mr. Dystopian, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. The marketing of the Mandalorian movies is all begging for forgiveness. There you go. Yes, you could say that. But this is Lucas Facts of the Week. It is both on my Twitter and on my YouTube page. I wish I could post it on Rumble, and hopefully they'll have a community page that you can do some posts like this other than just sharing the videos and marketing or sponsoring, not marketing, sponsoring other people's videos and stuff in a way of sharing out. Let's see here. Same goes for Force Unleashed, Bridging Revenge of the Sith, and A New Hope. All right, so let's get into the next one, and then we'll get into the Tales of the Jedi. Okay, I know I went a bit long on what I was talking about, but let's go ahead and get into our next one.
I hate to say it, but it looks like
Story.
the item you're searching for doesn't exist.
Impossible. Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
If an item does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
It does not exist. So, our book of the week. Kind of obvious because we're going to talk about it. And it's the comics 0 through 5, The Golden Age of the Sith from Tales of the Jedi. So here we go. So this makes a perfect segue into that. The writer is Kevin J. Anderson. So Tom Veitch is not in this just yet, contributing to it. Penciler Dario Carrasco Jr. Inkers Mark G. Hike. I think I might have said that wrong. Bill Black, David Jacob Backett, and Stan Watch. And letterings is Willie Schubert and Sean Connaught. Colorists are Perry McNamee and Pamela Rambo. Cover artist is Christopher Mueller. And that's for issue 0. Russell Walks issues 1 through 5. And Duncan Fagrito. Geez, that did not sound perfectly. That did not sound right. Fagrito, trade paperback. Published issues 0 through 5, July 1996 to February 1997. Timeline is 5000 BBY. And just continuity notes, basically 5 millennia before the birth of Luke Skywalker and the fall of the Palpatine's empire, our story unfolds. Let's see here. Let me get, where is that thing at? I need. And the history of the Old Republic has become legend. How the bold explorations of young Gav and Jory Daragon brought two galactic empires crashing together. How Odin became I like I said, I don't, the pronunciation I probably got fucking wrong, became the powerful Jedi, and how the 7 worlds of Karos system were finally united by the wise and skilled Empress Teta. So there we go. There we go. Darth plagiarism. Now, what is the word that describes works being copied and left uncredited? There we go. And they even stole the font. Correct. They want, it's a method of erasing what came before. So when you go into your browser to search, when you type up Tales of the Jedi, you're not going to get this. It's not going to be the predominant thing that comes up. And Shadows of the Empire sourcebook is filled with evidence the EU was considered canon at Lucasfilms. Correct. And the only forgiveness they should be... I've read that already. And same goes for The Force Unleashed. Oh, yeah, I read that already. I'm just making sure I covered everything. I thought I seen something I wanted to cover, but I guess not. Let's see here. Yeah, so here you go. This is Book of the Week. Book of the Week. It's a comic series, the Golden Age of the Sith, 0 through 5. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have read this. Have to be more specific when searching on YouTube unless you want to go through 3 pages of Disney shit. Correct. You are so correct on that as well. And, you know, and I'm not saying this, blah, 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 blah. Bane of Shills just covered this on his channel. So if you want to go listen to, I don't remember which issues he has. I think he has 0 through 5 up already, or a portion of it. Now, I wasn't even thinking, I didn't realize that he was bringing these up and putting them on available to listen to on his channel. And so it's not like we spoke and we synchronized sharing this. It just was happenstance. So I thought that was pretty cool. So if you guys want to check it out and start listening too, feel free to go over there and follow him on his Rumble page. Let's see here. Now they copied Legacy title for their stupid Rey Leia book. Correct. That's another one. Correct. All right, let me go ahead and get out of this thing here and make sure my window, oh shit, I have to pull it up. Damn it. My computer decided it wanted to restart. I think it updated or something. And I was reading through the revisiting. Shit, it's not even here. Revisiting these comics. Shit, it took it all down. Now I have to bring them back all up, put them all on my reader here. Damn it. It's not gonna take time. I was just hoping that I wouldn't have to worry about it. Okay. Open. There we go. Okay. What the hell's going on? Oh, now it says it doesn't want to respond, you son of a bitch. Okay, there we go. Let's see here. Is this the first one? Yes, that's the first one. I was going to be like, oh, fucking shit, if it was going to freeze on me. Okay. I have Tales of the Jedi Dark Horse Omnibus Getting those in the best for comic, or getting those the best for comic collecting. Correct. Correct. And there you go. You guys create your accounts. Get over there. Let's see here. Ahsoka would have stopped the Daragons and found defeated Naga Sadao before he invaded the Republic, all while having her arms crossed. There you go. There you go. All right. So let me go ahead and share screen. Now, I like to keep this about 2 hours. That's just my standard norm for this, but we'll see how that goes. I want to look at the art, get nerdy about the art, get nerdy about the story. You guys can discuss the story in the chat some more, and I can reply as well. We can have a back and forth here. So this is issue 0, The Golden Age of the Sith, Tales of the Jedi. Tales of the Jedi. Like I said, if you want to listen to, you don't have them and you want to listen to, you can go to Bane's Rumble and find it there. And let's see here. Let's see there. And I don't have, doesn't look like I have anybody on the Rumble side. Like I said, I forgot. I haven't opened it yet. I keep on saying I'm going to open my Rumble and never do. Shame on me. Shame on me for neglecting my Rumbleites here. Let's see here. If no one's on there right now, that's perfectly fine. Oh no, I see you guys. Hello, Melissa Lord. I see you guys. And it's funny how sometimes some of these comments don't show up. It's like sometimes they become random on StreamYard. But hey, Melissa Lord, how are you doing? How are you doing? All right. So let's see here. So Tales of the Jedi. So here's the cover art, issue 0. And like I said, issue 0 was done by where's it at? Cover artist Christopher Mueller. So there we go. Let me go ahead and put that back. There we go. All right. I clicked myself out of my own stream. All right, I'm here. Hey there, Chio. How are you doing? Open my Rumble. Paraphrasing. Open my Rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. All right. So I think that this is effective right here. This cover art here. You have all your standard characters and stuff. And so again, here's everything I've written here. This is the timeline here, the timeline for Tales of the Jedi. So here is the timeline here. And this came about when it was BSW4. The timeline was worded a little bit differently. But let's see here. So before Star Wars Episode 4 kind of thing, which is kind of weird. They could have just, I guess, for those fans who don't know what ABY and BBY mean, I guess that fits. And so Conquest of Unification. The complete history of the Old Republic would fill 1,000 libraries, but some events, some sacrifices have become legends. Passed from generations to generation. The epic of the Great Hyperspace War, how the bold explorations of young Gab and Jory Daragon brought 2 galactic empires crashing together, how Odin became a powerful Jedi and eventually a master, and how the 7 worlds of Koros systems were finally united by the wise and skilled Empress Teta. 5 millennia before the birth of Luke Skywalker, the fall of Palpatine's empire, 1,000 years before Exar Kun and Ulic Qeldroma joined forces in sweeping conflagration known as the Sith War, the story begins. The story begins. And here we go. Now, I'm not intending to read through this. Like I said, we're going to talk about the art and stuff like that. You guys could talk about the scenes, and I don't have you guys in front of me in the chat. So, but here it is. So, the beginning, the golden age of the Sith. Let me see. Let me go to the chat. Now, what's your opinion on the art? Being spoiled by Jander, Seema, and stuff like that, and the likes of. What is your opinion about this art? Is it effective? Is the colors eye-catching? Is the panels and the actions within them effective? Imagine if making a Tales of the Sith with Palpatine and Maul as main characters. That'd be something. Gotta love the 90s era art style. There you go. There you go. And what's your opinion on Golden Age of the Sith? What do you like about it? What are things that you wish that could have been more effective? Again, critique does not mean hate. Talking about something that you wish that could have been better or you didn't like does not mean hate at all. Star Wars Marva Pierce says, I've even got Couture Sator background music on my comic reads. Nice. Yeah. Wolf says, the art is interesting and really unique. At first, it comes across as jarring with how the technology looked compared to other eras. And Mike says, I really need to do a reread. Yes. And like I said, I didn't intend to do a read. If I do that, I want someone on with me so we can both address the chat as I read and stuff like that. So it's not about a read along whatsoever. I just wanted to pay homage to the Golden Age of the Sith under Tales of the Jedi and talk about the art and just look at the visuals and stuff. Maybe talk about scenes and maybe talk about the scenes, some of the scenes that are in the comics. Let's see here. Love the story. Nice prequel to the previous Tales of the Jedi. I like the art. What I really love is Naga Sadao. His cunning and planning. Yeah. Love the art. Just works perfectly. What are your thoughts on Dawn of the Jedi? Seems like people are mixed on it. Not favorable for me, but yeah, I read it for the sakes of like seeing what the story's about and how everything began and stuff like that. Something I would not fully recommend to people to start with or even go to until they have been well versed in reading through Star Wars. The artsy look looks like the cross between the 70s and 80s style and the later 90s and 20s style. Interesting. Also, Yu Caldroma is in Clone Wars game from the early 2000s. All right, let me go ahead and start moving along through this panel. Beautiful. That's not what I was looking for. All right. And you have like the depictions of how society looked back then, like 5,000 years prior to like even, you know, like Luke and stuff like that. And how like vehicles and stuff looked. And let's see here. And even like the the tables here and how they looked and stuff like that were slightly different, like even when we seen like even in Empire Strikes Back and stuff like that. Let's see here. Is there anything I want to point out? And how they drew physiques. How they drew physiques is something that could trigger a Disney Star Wars fan. Because, oh no, they sexualized the character, right? Shoot, OG, I can show you some mechanic shops that look exactly like the shipyard in my city. Oh my goodness. The story is great. It lays the foundation for mapping the hyperspace lanes and hyperspace travel, correct, as well as a lot of great Sith lore, correct. Yeah, so, but emphasizing 5,000 years prior to Luke and all of that, the events that we know, the greater events that we know, it took them a while to map out the hyperspace lanes and travel. And Disney, it's like, oh, about 200 years before the PT is when they started mapping everything out. That's fucking bullshit. That is fucking bullshit. The galaxy, it took time to do, but technology still, like technology, like they're making it sound like technology back in this era was not efficient enough. How did humans, I'm talking about Disney Star Wars now. How did the humans move around and colonize planets prior to them making their hyperspace lanes and stuff? Now, that does not make sense in Disney Star Wars. There has to be earlier events and records on that happening like thousands and thousands of years before the PT and before their High Republic, right? Let me see. Let me see those Empress Tatas. And let's see here. A strong female lead. Well, strong in physique too, right? Strong in physique too. Let me see. Star Wars space version of the Great Navigations. Ha ha ha. Let's see here. And 20,000 years to discover all the hyperspace lane routes of the entire galaxy makes sense, actually, correct. Because it didn't just happen during this time. It's been happening prior to that too, but everything is, there's still, like, it took a while. It took a while, just like Lucas Gerson said. All right. I believe this was the first prequel era content, but it's thousands of years before, so it wouldn't get in the way of George and movies he was working on. Yeah, he didn't want anybody working certain timelines. So yeah. And space whales. Space whales, they're the ones that how people navigated the galaxy, I guess. But how did they control the space whales? The impression I got from High Republic was hyperspace was a new invention a couple of hundred years before the prequels. Exactly. And then that's the point I'm making here. Now let's go ahead and move along from this page here. Anybody want to say anything other on this about this? Look at his lightsaber. Prepare your lightsaber for battle. A Jedi must always be ready. Yeah. Jedi needs to be ready. Jedi are not these passive beings that a lot of like these newer fans think and argue against. And now look at the motion through the ships, the line showing the motion and direction that they are going. Now we know what's happening here, right? So let's see here. But I really like the contrast with this, the motion of going down towards the planet, all of that. See what you're saying. Now, I'm not trying to review this panel by panel or whatever, but I just, like I said, I wanted to appreciate the art and stuff. And you guys can talk about the story in the chat and I will participate as well. The original Tales of the Jedi by Tom Veitch were the first Old Republic era, but those are the first chronologically excluding Dawn of the Jedi. And let's see here. Rest in peace to voice actor Tom Kane. And you know what? And I didn't go verify it, but so far as I know, Disney and Lucasfilm never did any homage to the man for his passing. And as of right now, if they did already, then okay, they did. But as from what I know, from what I've seen, nothing yet. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, and if I am, then I am. High Republic makes no sense to the lore indeed. Yeah, shout out to Tom Kane. Correct. All right, let's go to. Is there anything else I want to point out? Battle scenes, pretty effective. expressions. Now, again, I'm not covering the story. You guys can cover it in the chat and talk about it. That's pretty cool. And I'll participate when I read. But I'm just going on with the art and the expressions of what's going on. And pretty spot on here. So just wanted to give, point that out. And of course the explosions. And you know what? That's funny. We were going to get into Mandalorian Grogu, but I was going to leave to go and attend the art meeting, like I said earlier, and I'm here with you guys, so I guess I'm not going. And because of that, I was planning on doing a Cantina Night, or a show Saturday or something like that. I still want to. And with that being said, it'll probably be Cantina Nights during the time that Grizzy and Darth Melvin's gonna do their watch party. So probably prior to that, and I wanted to discuss Mandalorian Grogu in general and the media coverage behind that and the shill coverage behind that. So stay tuned for more information on that. And for the 25th on Monday, I still want to do a watch party of A New Hope and include any and everybody that I can that's not just channel members. So I got to figure out how I'm going to do that and the time frame, because my family wants to go to the coast on that day as well. So stay tuned for that. I'm figuring that out. I'm mapping that out. But here we go. So explosion scenes and stuff. And what got me to talk about what I'm in talk to you about with Mandalorian Grogu is that I did get a reply on Twitter. Someone saying, well, Star Wars doesn't always have to be about blah, 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 and explosions from lightsabers and blah, 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 blah. So this explosion is what made me think of that comment on Twitter towards me. All right. And so here we go. And of course, planets and space, movement, all of that. Okay. So this is the first one. I think it was the first one, was it? Yeah. Did I go through this? No, I wasn't on the first one. Which one was I? Damn it, Alora. Yeah, I was on the last one. All right. Let me see. Or did I do it twice? Sometimes when I have all these up together on panels. Yeah, this is the first one. All right. I thought so. I was like, what the fuck? It just, when I put them on here, it's backwards. So the fifth one is the first panel tab, and then it goes away to the first one. All right. So here we go. So here's a cover artist or cover for this one. Anderson Carrasco and Heike, whatever that name is. I'm sorry if I got it wrong. What do you guys think about the cover art for this? What do you think about the cover art for this? Yep. Oh, and I was like, yeah. I almost forgot Araba's name. Okay, let's see here. Might sound heretical, but I wouldn't mind a re-release of the Tales of the Jedi comics, but with the art style that Sator used for their timeline video. Sent you the video, OG. Oh, okay. Let's see here. Found an artist for you to raid when you're wrapping up. Cool. Thank you so much. All right. We're going to be wrapping up in probably about another 15 minutes just to give you a heads up. Thank you so much. And again, I still have not practiced that. So if you want to take that purist and do the raid, that would be great. I will practice that. I will go live exclusively on my Rumble, and maybe I'll do it this Saturday when I'm talking about Mandalorian Grogu, and then I'll practice that. Okay, let's see here. Oh my gosh, Wedgens banner. Yes, there's a Wedgens banner because I downloaded the free copy of this. So yeah. All right. Very 80s and 90s. This cover looks cover. I like it. Yeah. Art cover looks superb. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let me see here. There's something that I want to put on here? Yeah.
I love you.
I know.
And that's just appreciation. Friends, we're both married. No, but I thought that was funny. That's a good thing. All right. Let's see here. So let's go on. And again, here we go. We still have Kevin J. Anderson as the writer of this series here. The timeline here. Very good. And Into the Unknown. So I just got to read these. I just have to. For centuries in a protected vault in the Great Library of Ossus, the captured Sith holocron closely guarded its legend and histories until now. 5 millennia before the birth of Luke Skywalker and the fall of Palpatine's empire, 1,000 years before Exar Kun and Ulic Qualdroma joined forces in the sweeping conflagration known as the Sith Wars, the Old Republic was riding high and expanding. It was a time when the great Jedi Knights had tamed a mere proportion of the galaxy, a time of rugged frontiers. Colony worlds were being established while vast portions of space remained unexplored. Long distant travel was often treacherous and uncertain. So again, this goes back, like my question here is, how can the humans have colonized other worlds during the Disney timeline of the High Republic when travel in hyperspace was so damn early or so damn young? That's where it doesn't make sense at all. Each year, new, and you can't tell me the galaxy's that young at all. And that the human colonization of the galaxy, like Naboo and all this stuff, was that young. Each year, new hyperspace paths were mapped by intrepid hyperspace explorers who sought useful roadways through an incomprehensible dimension. These intrepid risk takers, some called them crazy, relied on blind luck as much as skill, gambling everything in a high stakes game to map a visual new route across valuable. I need my fucking glasses. I don't wear my glasses, you guys. Admittedly, I don't. I need to. Valuable new route across the star lanes, hoping to find their fortune instead of their deaths. So there you go. There you go. So a little bit of hyperspace history here. So anybody who wants to discuss hyperspace and compare and contrast, here we go. The High Republic to this when it comes to hyperspace exploration and the colonization of human species, and of course other species, not just humans, but humans basically were the colonizers. And I'm not trying to use this in a today's type language, political language, but they were the ones that traveled and inhabited new places that already have other beings and stuff, whether peacefully or not. And this is, like I said, I'm not getting into modern politics and blah, 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 blah. But compared to what Disney is doing now with Star Wars, that all happened a few hundred years from the PT era. So by that, the timeline is very young when the PT is coming out, which doesn't make sense at all. And how quickly everything was developed afterwards. Lucas era had the galaxy using Rakata tech to discover hyperspace and spent centuries finding routes. Disney be like, nah, we got space wells and help people travel space. Humans bad in Disney Star Wars. So there we go. And SJW, and I don't see you here on the Twitter side, or not the Twitter side, the YouTube side. Jacob is probably gonna pretend to read these comics at light speed. Yes, I agree. All right, we got 10 minutes to go. So, but like I said, I wanted to go through. So here we go. So now we have like almost like a monotone going on here of color. So all existing in the same color hue of like this orange yellow here. And then of course the human flesh, but it's effective. You have a little bit of shadowing with green here, all of that, but it's effective. The details are great here as well. And expressions as well. All right, let me see here. And jumping into hyperspace. Again, exploration is happening, right? And here we go. So, and again, if you have not read these, and or if you haven't read them in a long time, get to it. I highly recommend. So how space looks and how they're displaying this is pretty interesting here. So you have like these star cluster things here, and the specks of the different I could say stars or suns reflecting onto planets or galaxies or what have you further away from them. Pretty cool. Let's see here. Anything else I want to point out on this one? Again, we're not going through story, but you guys probably have an idea what's going on here. All right. Anything I want to cover on this one? And part of me is like, I just want to read and discuss the story with you guys. We're going to have to plan a day just for that. A cap chat just for that, like I did in the past with other comics. Going way back in the days of when Cap Chat did we did a comic review talk. Let me see here. I wonder how many times hyperspace lanes got discovered and rediscovered over a millennium prior to the films. I know, especially for those who perished because maybe they went too far and got destroyed by a planet or whatever. Yeah, so that's a good question. That's like the treachery, the bad luck, I guess you could say, of discovering and moving through the unknown, chartering through the unknown, right? If Lucasfilm get sober from the High Republic flop, their Old Republic shows would have hyperspace whales in their hyperspace vehicle. Oh my goodness. Let me see here. And Marvel, like space whales, found that hyperspace lanes inspired the hyperspace jump and travel general on Disney lore, probably. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. All right. So let me go ahead and is there a specific issue you want to look at when it comes to the art and detail or storyline? Let me know. Let me know. So here we go. All right, I'm going to go to this other one. So another cover here. This is number 2. What was I? Oh, yeah, it was number 1. Yeah, because we started at 0. Duh, Laura. All right. And so now we're getting into basically the scroll type thing here. And what's going on in this story. Again, I would read it, but I want to start coming to a conclusion here. And so here we go. So we're on planet here and all like the dynamics of the planet and stuff like that. Let me see the details, the lines and everything in here. The perspective is pretty good. The coloring looks like it's an arid, dry planet, of course. And so we have that depicted in the sky and stuff as well. So very true to the nature here. And let's see here. Let me see what you guys said in the chat, because I did ask a question, if you guys responded or not. Behold, I discovered a new hyperspace lane. Sire, actually, this lane was already discovered already. God damn it. And the Nazo says, would love to see OG take on the 3 big comic trilogies, Thrawn, Dark Empire, and Crimson Empire. Oh, yeah. Let's see here. They base their galactic map from the space whales migration and breeding sessions. Correct. Correct. And that's back in the days, right? That's back in the day. Let me go ahead and pull it up. Let's go back. So we have the temples and stuff like that. We have now we do like I said, you guys know this already, but those who may be catching the replay and don't know Sith history, these beings with the red tone skin are the species Sith. And they were basically bred out by humans. And so there are humans that exist with basically ancestors that were Sith. So just a very dense history of this, right? So Sith wasn't just a cult or a society, it was a culture, it was a species as well. And later that culture still existed without the species. Same with Mandalorians. But with Mandalorians as well, people were adopted into and they live the culture. Just like the Sith, their culture as well. But that one's not dark side, one is. So there's a difference and stuff. So a little bit of history here. A little bit of history here. Yes, and the slaves. The Massassi slaves. So there's a lot of like alchemy that happened that created like Massassi slaves and all this other stuff. And you also have the Sith hounds that were created through Sith alchemy as well. We went through this through the book of Sith. The Book of Sith. So there we go. And the Sith species died out like in SWTOR era. Darth Malgus Master was one, correct. Korriban, not Moribond, correct. So just a little history there. So those who probably those who don't know the extent of the history. And let's see here. Gorgeous. I like the art here. I like how this looks, how like as you could say, like I wouldn't say maybe royalty or superior looking the concept art of this for these characters are and stuff like that. Very good. Very interesting. And this right here, now if you ever wanted to know what inside the temple and all this look like, this is exactly so when you have like stories of like reading like in I think it's Fate of the Jedi when they revisit Korriban and stuff like that. Of course, a lot of this now is like in shambles, not as pristine because this is like 5,000 plus years prior to Fate of the Jedi. But how it looked back then, this gives a great example. So when you're reading, you can kind of visualize this more or less when Luke takes his Jedi onto Korriban. And so it's very interesting and very insightful, I guess you could say, to see the concept of it here. You know, something I always forget to pull up and use when I needed. Let's see here. Is there anything else I want to look at in here? Let me see what you guys are saying in the comments. And we're going to get ready to wrap up. We didn't get to look at all of them, but we can always do a part 2 later on as a pause for New Jedi Order. And maybe I will actually read some of the comics instead. Pure blood Sith are like space old Egyptians. Yeah, that's kind of it in a sense, right? 5,000 years of looting, rebuilding, and looting again, correct. And all like the dark Sith energy there and the animals that lived and survived from their alchemy, changing creatures to be like Sith hounds and all that. Very, very interesting. I don't know much lore, especially compared to you, but I'm certain Theory doesn't know any of this. Correct about Theory. Let me see here. I remember the video, the artist for the Tales of the Jedi, Lucas said LucasArts told him to not make the Sith look full Egyptian and had to change some aspects. Now that I have to look into, because that's one thing that I didn't know, but thank you for sharing. Naga Sadao looks sick. Correct. I love the concept. Korriban, not more. I already read that. All right, let's see here. And Tales of the Jedi use a lot of ancient real world cultures like stuff. Correct. There was inspiration. Sith for swords, force, and lights. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. That's the thing, too. The evolution of the lightsaber. The evolution of the lightsaber. So many people don't know, and I did a few videos of this on my channel here about the history of the lightsaber, basically. And the Sith basically invented the lightsaber, like as we know it, with the non-cord and stuff like that. The non-cord. There's a whole history behind that. Let's see here. Let me see here. And cable box sabers, correct. All right. So we got to the third comic here. And thank you guys for sharing interesting tidbits out to the public through the chat, as well as me reviewing the art and stuff like that. Great way to look at like concepts of the art, concepts of the visualization of Star Wars in general that, you know, that like evolved from the earliest concept artist, Ralph McQuarrie, all the way to these comic artists as well. And the guidance of Lucasfilm on creating these. It's phenomenal. These characters like Naga Sadao and them, and looking at the swords and the sabers, the evolution of that comes and stems from this as well. There's so much lore and historical events that happened during this time, like hyperspace lanes and all this stuff. It's worthy to explore, to read, to get behind. So with that being said, feel free to go ahead and rate us out on Rumble Purist. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at one more little panel here, and then we're going to call it a conclusion to CAF chat. Let's see here. Let me see. Is there anything else I want to cover on here? I do want to cover this, but I want to take time to talk about these scenes right here. So we'll probably come back to these. So remember that. All right. And I think that's going to be it for now. So those on Rumble, we are going to have a raid. Hopefully he's still behind, still listening. All right, I am ready. So let's have our raid. And you guys, thank you guys for tuning in to CAF Chats, both on Rumble and YouTube. And I'm thinking about just doing Rumble exclusive this Saturday before there is the watch party with Grizzy and Knights of Malvin. So I will let you guys know. All right. So with that being said, you guys are friggin' amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in. And our raid is going to go out, and you guys are amazing, and see you guys here soon. And again, I am going to do some art type videos here live, are pre-recorded for you guys here, as well as preparing my Vestara Khai Sith Eye. So thank you guys again for tuning in, and may the Force be with you.
Another happy landing.